sponsors.
Hello there. Peace be unto you. This is Joshua Salaam, and I am your host of Think About It, where we're going to talk about stuff that I think you will be interested in. So today, I have somebody who is interesting friend of mine. I think you're going to enjoy this round of Think About It. Don't go anywhere. Get comfortable in your couch, in your chair, or standing up, whatever you're doing. We're coming right back with Think About It, brought to you by pennypillusa.org. All right, Assalamu alaikum. And the reason why I broke it down with peace be unto you is because sometimes things get lost in translation. And there's a church I went to one time, actually happened twice in a church. In the middle of the church service, all of the people got up and they started turning to each other and shaking each other's hands. And every time they shook a person's hand, they said, "Peace be with you, peace be with you, peace be with you." And I was like, no way, what? Everybody's saying Assalamu alaikum in English. This is awesome. So there's a lot of things that we have in common that we wouldn't even know because of a different language. So that's why I started with peace be unto you, in case you didn't know what Assalamu alaikum meant and you're one of our listeners of a different faith. So before I introduce my guest today and the topic, I want to respond. I finally got some feedback from one of the listeners, and it was a guy named Hood. I'm not going to give his last name, but for those who know him, he was my predecessor. He was the youth director at Adams Center before me, and we call him Brother Hood. It's one of the coolest names, Brotherhood. You know, could be also spelled H-O-O-D, but his name is spelled H-U-D. And he wrote to me and he said, "Joshua, you gave this talk about youth being the treasures of the community and they're the investment and we have to put so much time and resources and energy into the youth." He said, "But what about the elders? And what about, other people in the community? We focus on the youth and not the elders of the community. They need our attention and our resources as well." And I want to talk about that for a little bit, just a little bit before I get into my segment today, because we don't want to be put in a situation with one of those weird, puzzles or one of those weird riddles where you go to there's a train coming and there's two people tied to the train track and you only have time to save one of them, and one of them's a young person, one of them's an elderly person. Which one do you save? I know some of these people get these riddles in psychology or some type of class that makes you really challenges your ethics, right? And so we don't want to kind of pose it as that. I think we have time to serve both. We have time to serve the youth and we have time to serve the elders in our community. And but the youth have a special place, because both are vulnerable. When people get elderly, they're vulnerable, and youth are vulnerable. But normally an elder person can kind of speak their mind. They might tell you, "Boy, you don't talk like that around me." The elders can kind of still gather some respect just based on their age. And culturally, especially in the Muslim community, elders get so much respect just because of their age, right? But the youth are a group that has to be advocated for. They don't really have the capacity or the cultural support to speak their mind and to tell you when they feel like they're being ignored, or when the community is not listening to them or giving them space. The youth don't have that voice. I think the elderly do have that voice. They're normally the most active in the masjid. They're normally, very involved in the board or in voting and things like that. And the youth really need somebody to advocate for them. And you do, if you ever want to change the culture, if you want to change the cycle and the way that we're doing things, it has to start with the next generation, right? It has to start with the next generation. So even if you say, like, us as a Muslim community, we are not really taking care of the elderly like we should, okay, then to break that cycle, one, you have to start doing something for the elderly, but you have to train and teach the next generation that this is how we do it. They have to be groomed, they have to be taken under your wing, and you have to really teach them so that you can break the cycle. So it's really, for me, it's really about that youth, that youth generation, the people coming up. They have to learn from our mistakes, the proper way and the wrong way to run a masjid, the proper way and the wrong way to run a household, the proper way and the wrong way to be an American citizen, right? We have to teach them these things so that they can change the status and the trajectory of Islam in America. So that's why I think that more focus needs to be on the youth, because it is there that we really invest in the future of the positive things that Islam can bring to this country and that we can do for America. So Hood, I appreciate your feedback, and I do agree with you that we do have to take care of our elderly, because that's where I'm headed, right? I'm getting up in age. I will be one of the elderly, and I hope that the community is able to have things for me to do and resources for me. So we always want to take care of our elderly, but not at the expense of the youth, inshallah, and vice versa. So without further ado, I am focusing today's show on average people, or people who think that they're average. You know, people who aren't famous, people who aren't scholarly, they don't have websites, you know, they don't have a bunch of followers on their Instagram and Facebook and friends and things like that. They're just regular people in the community. And today's show is to try to get across to you that there is no such thing. There is no such thing. Every single person in the community has a priceless role, priceless. You bring so much as an individual to the community. You may not get rewards for it, you may not get trophies for it, you may not get plaques for it, but my guest today is somebody that I'm bringing in to show you that one person sometimes can have a huge effect on a community, right? So this is a person that comes into a community and helps to establish social networks, activities where 10, 20 brothers get together and play basketball, or 15, 30 brothers get together and have a halaqah. But that little effort of getting people to come together does huge things for a community. Now I'm studying, so I told some of you, I think I told some of you, I'm studying right now for my doctorate in ministry at Hartford Seminary in Hartford, Connecticut. One of these shows, I just need to talk to you about that seminary. I think it's an amazing place to study, especially if you want to be involved with faith work in America. So I'm studying my doctorate of ministry, and in that I'm reading books and I'm reading papers about how important it is to have small social groups in any religious organization. We don't want to, and especially Muslims, we have to be careful about this. You can go into the masjid on a Friday, right? And you're going to be in a community anywhere between like 100 and 2,000 people at your Jummah. And even with all those people, there's many community members that come in and they leave and they feel all alone. They don't really feel the power of that socialization of being around 500 people, because it's a Friday, you got to come in, you got to get back to work, right? So it's so important for people like my next guest to come into communities and get active with creating smaller groups that are doing things that you like. Maybe it's a sewing club. Maybe it's a basketball club. Maybe it's a martial arts club. We had Sakine on here earlier. Maybe it's a dhikr circle. Maybe it's a halaqah to do tafsir al-Quran. It could be so many things. It could be a bike riding club. It could be a hiking club. It could be a club that just gets together and watches The Simpsons. I don't know. But the fact that you guys get together and you have that social network, it's in that small group that somebody's going to say, yeah, I was having problems with my job and I missed last month's rent, right? They may not want to get up in front of Jummah and say that to everybody, but when it's a small group of people that they've been meeting with for like 6 months to a year, you can come out and you can say those things. And then that small group of people will either help you or they'll let somebody else know that you need help, right? So more and more our Muslim communities need those small groups. In addition to the big ummah, we need small groups that are doing things on a weekly basis, bi-weekly basis, that you're interested in, something specific to your interest that keeps you connected to the community. And it's through those connections that you will find this subha, this concept of like intense brotherhood and sisterhood that we are missing in a lot of communities. So I want you to check out my next guest. His name's Owais Batli. He's a good friend of mine. And my hope is that in this segment, you'll see that he might appear to be an average person, but I see him as more than that. And I hope that you see yourself as more than that. And you can do so many things in your community just by starting something small. So let's take a break for pennyappealusa.org, and we'll be right back with my guest, Owais Batli. Check him out.
Water is an important part of life, and the difference between clean and dirty water is the difference between life and death. We know that the issue is not that there's a lack of clean water, but a lack of access to it. So we're on a mission to change that. Through Thirst Relief, we're building wells across Africa and Asia to provide millions with access to clean, safe, consumable water. The goal is simple: to provide clean water to every person who needs it. To irrigate gardens like these, horticultural gardens in Gambia. To make sure that no person ever has to drink dirty water ever again. So join us. Visit pennyappealusa.org/thirstrelief and donate today. Thank you.
Yeah, you are back with Think About It. I'm your host, Joshua Salaam. Penny Appeal is the sponsor of the show and Deen TV right now. And guess who I brought on the show, just like I told you? Mr. Owais Batli. Give him a big round of applause, y'all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. How you doing?
How you doing?
You, now I brought you on the show because you could be categorized as just an average guy. But once you get to know Owais, you know that there's a lot more to you, and you bring a lot to any community that you've been a part of. So I wanted to bring you on the show and kind of share with the world, how you have really landed, dug your feet deep, pulled up your sleeves and got your hands dirty, clean. Anyway, you got your hands working in this community. So let's talk about that. You came here from Buffalo?
Buffalo, New York.
Buffalo, New York. Now, what was in Buffalo and why did you leave?
So, born and raised in Buffalo, New York, that as home, and ended up coming to the Washington, D.C. area for college.
For college, VT, UVA, which one?
No, here in D.C. I went to American University, then transferred to Georgetown. Graduated from undergrad at Georgetown University.
You always hanging out with those VT, UVA guys. I thought you was like
part of the community that I'm a part of. So
you're one of the only brothers that I know. I would say one of the 6 or 7 brothers that I know that played hockey and likes to play hockey.
I played ice hockey when I was a kid and still play inline hockey today.
Really?
Yes, I do.
So how did you learn how to? I mean, that's not something that most. Are you? What's your ethnic background? Is it
Kashmiri?
Kashmiri. See, I was about to say Pakistani. So Kashmiri. It's not many Kashmiris playing hockey, man. How'd you pick that up?
By being from Buffalo, New York.
You. There's a lot of snow up there.
Yeah, and you become an avid football and hockey fan because those were the only 2 sports teams we had. And believe it or not, that passion was something we did at the masjid. We actually used to play,
on roller skates?
Yeah, we used to play, during the summertime and other times during the year, we would actually play hockey in the back of the masjid, growing community, but not a lot of activity there, not a lot of people for daily salah and things like that growing up as the community was getting bigger. But we used to go there and we used to play hockey in the back. And then we just go, pray our Dhuhr or Asr prayer in the musalla and just get back to it. And until the guys that love to play basketball got a little bit bigger and were able to dictate that we would play basketball instead of hockey.
And you can skate backwards and all that stuff?
Yeah, I play. And my kids now, 2 of my kids at least right now are in ice hockey, and the 3rd one is about to start, inshallah, as well. He's already on ice skates as well.
Now that you mentioned the word passion, and I think that's one of the things that you brought when you came. So I know you to be a person that's like, either going to or hosting football get-togethers or basketball get-togethers, and it's not just, of course, it's not about the football or the basketball, the hockey, whatever it is. It's just kind of like this brotherhood that's developing, and people to get together, and you're kind of talking with people, and it's through that brotherhood that you get to find out who's hurting, who just got a new job, and all of that. What would you say about the importance of that and your role in that, in building those bonds and that type of thing through the passion that you have through sports?
I guess, yeah, just from that standpoint, you know, a lot of us just through the American, you know, Muslim experience, or just the American experience in general, are sort of inclined towards sports. And what I found is, even just in terms of being parts of communities and things like that, that those sports sort of can bring people together if you sort of share those common interests. And every once in a while, there's people that don't maybe necessarily share that same passion with you, but, you know, by being part of that sort of overall brotherhood and group, you know, you just sort of use that as an opportunity to get people together and, you know, to have, you know, share common beliefs, common values, but at the same time can realize that, you know, you can still have fun and enjoy some of the, you know, the things that this culture has to offer and the things that you grew up watching. So, you know, you just, in general, you know, you get together to watch a Super Bowl. So a bunch of brothers would get together to watch a Super Bowl. It's, you know, a tradition that we would do all the time, but, you know, when it's time to pray, you know, we stop and pray and then get back to the game and eat all the food and all that kind of stuff. So it's just nice to have that sense of community and brotherhood that can be built, and sharing some of those things of common interest. So
I mean, in your heart of hearts, you really do feel that there's a spiritual component to all of this, and how so?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, in the sense of just, you know, again, wanting to be a part of something bigger. And when we talk about being a part of this ummah, you know, again, it can't always just necessarily always be, quote unquote, around religious things per se, that we always sort of bring ourselves together on. I mean, and that's not the prophetic example, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that we would have seen anyways. I mean, people shared, you know, if Sahaba used to wrestle or do other things, right? There was sports and components that people actually find something that brings people together. And I think sports is one of those things that does it, you know, that brings people together. So being able to, say, for instance, you know, have a soccer team that goes and plays indoor soccer together or something like that. Why not, you know, just have those kind of experiences.
So, I mean, you whether it's basketball, football, whatever, what did you feel like your role was when you came to the Adams Center? Did you find a group that was already there, or did you help establish one to get this thing going? So this thing that you're talking about, these brotherhood things like that, did you help form it, or did you come in and see something already existing and then help to build it up?
Well, I guess there's a couple things. I guess if I take it back in terms of sort of how I ended up in the community. So I told you I grew up in Buffalo. One of the things that I was passionate about, or, you know, I used to do as a family, we'd go to the halakas at the masjid and stuff like that. So, you know, we'd had this sort of importance of learning our Deen, practicing our faith, you know, so doing that. So you'd go to the halakas with your parents and things like that. And so that was something that was, I established it, in childhood. Just, it's just being a part of learning your faith. And then actually what ended up happening is when I was in college.
At American University?
So actually, well, it happened, throughout college, but then there was one particular experience where we invited Imam Majid to come to Georgetown University, and he gave a talk, I don't know, it's probably around marriage or something like that, that he did. And so one of the things that I thought about is, if I decide to live in this community or in this area, I'd like to be in his community. So I just sort of inclined, and a couple of my friends were moving out this way to the Adams Center, and so I decided to sort of join that train and sort of come out to this area. And so obviously there was already programs going here. There were some brothers that had like a brothers halakha circle on, I think it was back in those days, Sunday mornings, and we used to get together and talk about issues or discuss books and things like that. And then some other brothers that were already in the community before me had already started at least doing some things with Imam Majid in terms of halakas and things like that. And so I just sort of took it and ran with it in terms of just sort of getting involved with some of those particular organizations within the masjid.
It's funny you mentioned that you kind of were down here and you go to a lecture of Imam Majid, and what I'm hearing you say is, like, based on that session, you were like, yeah, I want to be in his community. I want to be with that. what connection do you see between that experience with you and what I have experienced is the type of stuff that you do and that you're part of? There's other young adults that come to a community and they'll see these guys working out together in the gym, and they'll see these guys going to play basketball every Saturday or something like that, and they see the way you guys talk and interact, and they're like, I want to be part of that community. And you also have something like Imam Majid that brings people to this area.
Yeah, no, I mean, again, like I said, he just sort of struck me. I think it came just from my upbringing of sort of respecting scholarship and you know, people that you felt like were really living what was being preached. And so I just had that inclination towards him. And then again, it just sort of permeates throughout you and wanting to be a part of something and thinking that it could be something that you can, you know, not only yourself can benefit from, but others can benefit from as well through some of the halaqas that we would do. And you could see sort of that element of how many people, at least in this particular community, sort of came because of his influence and his open-mindedness and some of the things that he preached, and people feeling that that was a nice thing to be a part of and wanting to be a part of that type of community. And so I think now that, you know, you see other people come in, a lot of times they've heard about the community, they've heard about, you know, that type of you know, experience, and so they're inclined towards it. And so you want to welcome those people when they, you know, when they have an opportunity to come and join that. And you know, obviously that's something I try to push as well, is to welcome people to be able to see that and have that same experience.
So you don't consider yourself a scholar?
Not by any stretch, not by any stretch of the imagination.
And yet, I can imagine it. I can see it, man. I can see it now. Sheikh Owais Batli. But even so, you found a role, right? You said, okay, well, because there's this thing at the masjid called Qurtaba, right? And it's considered, I think, adult Islamic education, right?
Yep.
You're heavily involved with that, right? I don't know your role in it historically. You can tell us a little bit about it, but you bring organization, you bring marketing. You know, you kind of, so you're not the Imam Majid, but you're definitely calling the crowd like, hey guys, you know, there's a class, and you've helped establish this thing. So tell us a little bit about Qurtaba, how it got established, and what you're doing with that now in the community.
I got to crack a joke at this one, because when you said Sheikh, you say Sheikh Owais or Sheikh Batli?
Both.
But either one. But it's funny. My father used to say something when I was in college. He'd say, you know, you're Sheikh Owais during the day, but then at night you're OB. You know, like, you have to know good kind of thing. But you know, from that standpoint, you know, like I said, I just sort of came into the community. There was already some activity going on there in terms of, you know, like every other community, probably across the country. You know, like there's that staple sort of halaqah that happens during the week with the, you know, and what we try to do is sort of expand upon that. You know, how can we get people more access to this? You know, and study different things, and whether it's traditional texts, whether it's, you know, the American Muslim experience and talking about current issues and things like that, is really just having a passion for the fact that, you know, we as young adults, as people with families, having the opportunity to just sort of you know, provide a basic Islamic literacy for ourselves, you know, in terms of just practicing our faith, but really just that spiritual revivement, you know, in terms of, you know, really feeling a connection with your faith, you know, being proud of your faith, you know, just and really getting that sort of iman boost through some of these educational programs that hopefully, you know, you have the opportunity to educate yourself, but then also, you know, hopefully translate that into, you know, improving your character, having a better impact in society in general, and turning that, you know, knowledge into action.
But what did you do? That's what I'm trying to get at. You, because, and I'll tell you why, because the audience that's listening, many of them may consider themselves average Joe Muslim. I'm just average Mustafa.
Sure.
I'm just average whatever, right? But, and that's why I started by saying you could be considered an average person, just a regular guy in the community. But once you get a closer look, you see, okay, well, here's a person who had some role in expanding an opportunity for others to get knowledge, right? So that could be anybody in any community that can listen to this show, listen to you, and be like, oh, okay, well, yeah, I could do something like that at my city or whatever. So I want you to tell them, like, what did you do to help expand that?
Well, again, I think it stems from a passion for the education, a passion of just learning your faith, just being fascinated overall. Again, like I said, I wouldn't even really call myself probably a serious student of faith, but I try my best in whatever capacity I can, and then, you see opportunities to provide other people those same avenues to learn. I used to say things like if you just dedicate an hour of your week or just going to one of these programs that hopefully is spiritually uplifting, that can teach you a little bit more about your faith, it'll have an impact in your life and those around you. So, really just trying to push that sort of messaging out there and realizing that, again, like you said, everyone can find their way, right? I mean, some people are going to probably be great at youth mentorship and focusing maybe their efforts in that, if that's what you're passionate about. Getting involved at maybe on the board level.
Now that's where OB
like that
would come in, not the Sheikh Owais, right? OB to be the mentor.
Yeah. So, but yeah, any way that you can find a passion. That's simply what I did. I just found that there was an opportunity to sort of promote a vision and a Muslim experience, I'd say an ideology, methodology in this faith that I think that's very applicable to the American Muslim experience, and I just felt like it's something we should celebrate and share with others. So that's really sort of how I got involved, and continue to be involved, I guess, over a dozen, 15, maybe not even 15 years later. I guess 16 years, I guess I've been part of the same community. Yeah, it's been a long time.
Like, man, have I been doing this for 16? I guess when you find something that you're passionate about, the time flies. It doesn't feel like work all the time. I mean, I know sometimes it's overwhelming, but.
Well, and when you see the impact that somebody has, I was just using this example the other week. We're in Ramadan we can't really have nightly halaqas because of all the other festivities that are going on in the masjid with tarawih and stuff like that and iftar. So we tend to not have classes obviously in the evenings during Ramadan, but what we end up doing is having a Saturday program. Usually topic oriented, so whether it be like something on the Sahaba or in the Quran, and this year's theme was on the example of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and how we can use him in different aspects of our life, whether it's as a leader and his character, as a family man, those types of things. And so when you're able to do some of those things and create some of those programs that you think will have an impact on the community, and it just takes one person in that community to say like they were affected by that program, and you realize like that's why you do what you do, right? We can all complain about this wasn't done right, this wasn't done right, but then that that one person that just says I really appreciate you doing that program, like it really affected me and it made a difference in my life.
One compliment,
right? And so oftentimes we look at things and think that things have to be judged by how large the audience is, or or how many likes you get on Facebook or whatever it might be. But then it's really just, did you make an impact in that person's life, right? And that's why we say sort of our motto or logo for the Qurtuba Institute is transforming ourselves through sacred knowledge. How do we sort of take that knowledge, benefit from the history and the rich tradition that we have in our faith, and then try to apply it in our own lives to our own experience, and hopefully inshallah benefit from it and then benefit others from it. And so when you hear that person say that they really appreciated something, or they learned something about the Prophet ﷺ, or they they had a greater appreciation for the Quran or something in their life, those are the things that make you want to continue to find ways of creating that sort of impact for the community.
Now there's one missing piece of the puzzle. It's the last thing we're going to talk about today. So you had the passion to start things that create brotherhood with the other brothers in the community, whether it's through sports or working out or just getting together. You had the passion to start, educational programs in the masjid, or expand educational programs and try to give people access to Imam Majid and other scholars in the community. But you're also a family man, right? You said you looked up and said 16 years for the thing at Adams. I don't know how you have to look up and find out. Remember how long you've been married, but I don't want you to get
13 and a half.
13 and a half years. There you go. And you got 4 children and
4 boys.
4 boys. How do you balance that? I mean, because we said we're trying to inspire the other guy out there, or the lady or guy out there, that you don't have to be, with all these accolades to kind of get stuff started in your community. And you can be a person that has transformative effects in your community just by being you, just by doing a couple of things, even if it's by gathering people and having a good time as Muslims, right? So here I brought somebody in who's done it, but somehow he's also managing his family. I want to tell you, do you have any advice? Because that is the main thing with Muslim activists. That is the main challenge that they have, is balancing all of this stuff that they're trying to do for the cause, that fi sabilillah, drive, and keep a peaceful family? I had Sister Selma Abujadedi on recently, and you know, we were talking about peaceful families, how to keep your house in order so that your children are happy and they get to see father, you know. How do you do it? What do you recommend? The rest of the time is yours.
No, so I mean, honestly, so I mean, I guess it's I benefited from the fact that I was actually introduced to my wife through Imam Majid.
Okay.
So he did our premarital counseling, so we already have like an attachment to the masjid anyways. And
so anytime she's like, where you going? I'm going to see Imam Majid. Okay.
Yeah, so you know, but you're right. You have to balance it, and sometimes that might be, you know, sacrificing certain things, you know, in terms of, you know, for instance, maybe not pursuing, you know, board position or something like that, because you know that, again, the time commitment there is there. So I think it's just a matter of communicating that with, you know, with your spouse. And again, in our case, like say for instance with halakas, you know, we try to share that experience together. So we'll go together. We'll take our children, right? We try to make sure that our children learn the importance of going to the masjid and sitting quietly and patiently. I know it's hard to do with small children.
Wait a minute, you got four. You said your children sit quietly. What?
To be honest,
now you got to give a class on that.
Yeah. So, well, I think it's, you know, number one, it's just having the encouraging environment, right? For the masjid welcomes you in when your teacher, you know, welcomes your children to be there, understanding that, you know, sometimes they might, you know, get a little rowdy, but then that's how you just, you know, try to be respectful during that time, right? You just pull your children out if you need to, just to, you know, to quiet them down, but you make them realize that, right? You know, you understand, you know, that experience, and so I think. You know, you do that, but then you also have to make sure you're fulfilling all your commitments at home too, right? My kids play sports. I'm involved in their sports. You know, I want to tuck them into bed every day when I'm here, and I got to travel for work and stuff too. So I mean, I've got other things I got to balance. So you know, so those are the kind of things. But you know, it's working together with your spouse, making sure that, you know. And like in her case, you know, if there's things that she wants to do personally, she can do. I mean, she still lets me on top of all this. I play on 2 inline hockey teams, right? So I'm playing hockey 1 or 2 days a week too. I'm going to the gym, right?
Where's your S? Things like that. You got an S under there, Superman. I brought in the Superman onto the show. Hey, this is Owais Batli. I hope that you learned from this segment that he is what you might consider a regular Muslim, but when you get a closer look, he's doing amazing things for this community, and you can do the same thing for your community if you just think about it. And if you have the barakah of time and the passion that he has, inshallah, you can bring the same thing to your community. We're going to come right back, so don't go anywhere. This is all brought to you by Penny Appeal, pennyappealusa.org. We want to thank them, and I want to thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
But there's more. There is more, so don't go nowhere. Assalamu alaikum.
Since August 25th of this year, over 600,000 individuals have fled from Myanmar into bordering Bangladesh. They've witnessed crimes against humanity. The United Nations calls what happened in Myanmar textbook definition of genocide, textbook definition of ethnic cleansing. We've been here for the last few months, providing them with access to clean drinking water, providing them with access to primary healthcare services, helping them build their shelters, as well as giving them weekly food distributions. We can't fathom what they've witnessed. The ones that have arrived into Bangladesh are the lucky ones. They're now residing in between the 22 to 25 official refugee camps that have now been established. With your continued support, we want to secure their future. We want to stay for the foreseeable future so that we can dig more water wells, so that we can provide them with more medication and more medical advice, so that we can help build more shelters, especially with the winter coming and the cold setting in. Please visit our website to find out more about our work and to support us with your generous donations. Thank you.
That I like to win. I like winning. I'm willing to lose, but I like winning. And Owais, let me tell you, he's a very, when he says passion, he takes that passion into the sports. He is a passionate guy, very competitive, like playing with you and against you. And so
I will try to win.
You will try to win, I'm sure you will. Now, and another aspect of him that we didn't say, he's a singer too. You sing too, right?
A little bit, a little bit.
You should have saw your face go back. No, yeah, you sing. You got a nice voice, so.
You remember when I stepped on stage with Native Deen?
When was that?
GW, way back in the day.
Yeah.
If you remember our good friends.
Anytime we perform locally, if one of us can't make it, we know we have somebody, 6 man off the bench. Fourth man off the bench.
You don't ever seem to need that 6 man.
Probably
a good thing.
We all like LeBron. We got that. We can last sometimes. Anyway, all right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Here we go. Now I'm trusting my producers to get those words up in time, not to lag, and to be ready for the sound. We're gonna be a tight show today, coming at you guys. City.
State.
No.
Did I guess again?
No, it's your turn. Your turn.
Entrance.
Entrance. Door?
No.
No. Okay. So my first clue is city. My next clue is oh, come on, there's another word for it. My vocabulary is limited all of a sudden. Herndon.
Reston. Oh, I got you. I think I know.
Okay, next time. Here we
go. Goodbye.
Wait, but this is the same word?
Yeah.
The first clue was entrance.
Yes.
And now the clue is goodbye?
Yeah.
Oh, exit. Hey, okay. All right. So you got 1, I got 0. Now, I gave you city.
And Herndon.
I gave you Herndon.
Town?
Yes. Yay. Ding, ding, ding. Tie game. All right, your turn.
Queen.
King.
You got it.
All right. Stripes.
Stars.
Okay. Very good guess. We're gonna come back to that. Your turn.
Now I'm on the third one.
Really? No.
Yes, I'm on the third one. So.
Wait, what was the first word?
First one was exit. Second one was king.
Oh, you're on your third. All right. He is competitive. I told you.
Large.
Big? No. Okay. All right. I said stripes. You said stars. Okay. So now I'm gonna say stars.
And stripes. You can't say stripes. So stripes wouldn't have been the word. Stars.
So my first clue was?
Stripes.
Stripes. Second clue, stars.
Stars and stripes. Stars and stripes are American flag.
Yes. Come on, give it to me. There we go. 2. You're
so I had large.
Okay. Hey, all right, now you give me okay, large.
Is that cheating?
No,
at large?
There's no cheating. There's no cheating.
There's large.
Okay, large, yep.
There's also small.
Wait, is that your clue? Small?
Yeah.
Okay. Size. No. Okay. All right.
Getting there. Warming up.
All right. So it's 2-2. I've caught up. Food.
Drink.
It's gonna take a while for that one. All right.
So I did.
There's large. There's small. Medium. You're gonna say medium now? What's your clue?
It's medium is another word for it.
Large, small, medium. And my last guess was size?
Yeah, so, you know,
Okay.
if it's not large and not small, and
Okay.
it can't be medium because I said that word, right?
Right. It's another word for it, though. Medium, large, small. Height. You were going like that. Anyway, okay, so I said food. Let's say wedding.
Party.
Oh.
Okay. So we said large, small, and medium,
Mm-hmm.
and we said it was in that medium range.
Okay.
So, you know, now let's figure out how you could figure this out. Maybe McDonald's.
Okay, now we're getting somewhere. Did somebody say McDonald's? Large, medium, small, McDonald's. I'm gonna say order. Close?
What are you ordering? Yeah. Okay, we'll get there. All right, maybe I'm not as good at this as I thought I could be.
All right. Food was a clue.
And wedding.
And wedding was a clue. Now I'm gonna say okay, you gotta remember those two.
Food and wedding.
Wedding. Purchase.
Catering.
Yes. Good, that was good.
I should get points for that.
You should, but you don't. You don't. That is my point. All right, your turn. I just took the lead, Owais.
Okay.
Just letting you know.
It wasn't large, it wasn't small.
It wasn't
It had to
medium.
be somewhere in the medium.
McDonald's.
McDonald's. French fries. Or fries.
Burger. Okay, all right.
All right. You had it when I said size. You just got to figure out what size that is. If it's not small, it's not medium, and it ain't.
Okay.
And it ain't.
Okay.
You get it next time, hopefully.
Maybe.
What are you ordering when you get there? You want the super size, or you want the? Think about it for a second.
Think about it. Here we go. My word is. I think I had this word before, but my producers say that I haven't. Okay. Fast.
Furious.
We know where you've been.
All right.
That was an OB answer. That was
So we okay. So we said it's not large,
Large.
not small. It's somewhere in the medium size, but it's not McDonald's. It's French fries. So what size are you ordering?
Are you gonna give me a one-word clue or a paragraph, man?
Size.
Didn't you give me that clue last time?
I told you large, small,
So now
and
you're
medium.
cluing
So
size.
yes. French fries. McDonald's. You don't want large. You don't want small.
Regular.
Thank you.
All right.
That may have been too much of a clue there.
Okay. Regular. All right. Tie game.
Fast.
Fast. You said furious. Gonzalez.
Speedy. Speed.
Yes. There we go. See, that shows where we grew up at. Huh?
We're a different generation.
Some little kid is out there like, how did he get that from Gonzalez? My last name is Gonzalez. How did he get that? All right.
Sick.
Your basketball skills. No, just kidding. Hey, I know that. I'm just joking.
And we know that's not true anyways. You played with me before.
Wait a minute. Is this a new word?
Yeah.
A new word. And sick. Health.
Close.
Okay.
Close.
All right. Last word. I'm on my last word. Don't front on me now. Give me all you got. Give me all.
All right. So you win if I guess your word because you did better than I did. Okay.
Pure.
Heart.
Oh.
Okay. So you're not sick.
Okay.
You have health. we might consider you to be a wisher. Blank wisher. Does that
Wisher. Well,
fill in the blank?
Oh my goodness.
Does that count?
You're bending the rules more than the sisters, man. The sisters came on the show and just threw out my rules. That's he's like, wisher. All right. That's
you
cool.
got it? Or if I say being?
Huh?
Well, being?
Being? No, I would have.
Well wisher,
if,
well-being.
If you had said something like, I would have went
Say
well
health.
like an actual well, like Zamzam well.
Ah,
or
that
something
would
like
have been cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
Then you'd have said Mecca and the Kaaba and
Prophet
Ibrahim
Yusuf,
alayhi salam
you
and
know.
everybody, you name it.
You got to get Quranic on me, man. I would have had you. So it's tie game. That was your fourth word, right?
That was my fourth.
So you're on your fifth word.
And
I'm on
this
my fifth
last
word.
one might be a little bit harder.
Okay. All right. I said pure. Now I'm going to say. Now I'm going to say. Okay. Pure. Hadith.
Sahih.
Okay.
Oh, you were looking for authentic, weren't you?
Yes. Yes.
So we're not gonna get to my last one, or I get a
we-
chance
we-
to tie.
we are. You get a chance to tie.
I don't know how I'm gonna tie this one.
I know how you're gonna get it. You're gonna be like, wisher. Yeah.
I don't think I can do that with this word. but
Okay, give me a go. All right, let me put
How
on my
about
thinking cap.
authentic? I should have waited another time to guess. I guess too.
No, it's the honor system, man. It's the honor system.
That was a good one though. Seamstress.
Wait a minute. Did you already give me a clue for this word?
No, this is the first one.
the first one.
Seamstress.
Is it seamstress? Seamstress. I'm gonna try to help you win here, man. Hold on a second. That's somebody that sews. There's another word for a seamstress. Sometimes I think. What do they call them in the laundry? When you go to the cleaner, seamstress. There's a tailor.
No.
Ah, what was it?
Alteration.
Alteration. Yeah.
Like he was like they sewed them. I'm like.
Yeah.
You're getting
do
there. You're getting
shoes
there.
and alterations.
Alterations.
I'm done. Thank you for playing the game
I
with me, man.
appreciate it.
So
Thank
we
you for
got
having
like a minute left. I say we give them a little bit of our duo on that song we was working on.
What song was that?
The song that we're gonna do right now. What's your favorite? What's your? Let's give a shout out to one of your sons. And what's the song that they like?
We sing. What we can sing a little bit of the borda.
Oh, okay. You went there on me. All right.
Do you do the Messi Curtis version of it? Or you do something else.
Unfortunately, I
Spiritual
love
hangout
Messi
version.
Curtis.
That
but,
spiritual hangout version.
Okay, why don't I just sing backup? You know, or maybe I do the beat. I do the beat. What you got?
No, we'll do it together.
Okay.
All right.
It's on you. I thought you was gonna call out a native Deen song or something that I could definitely.
My kids love MUSLIM.
Okay. We can.
I don't know if I know the words though.
All right, so we got 30 seconds. Let's do we'll do the
Small
chorus
D's,
line.
you name it, man. You name it.
Well,
We got them all.
I don't know the lyrics of Small D's. Abdul Malik always gets mad at me. I just go.
Picking up trash and
That's the same thing I do on stage. All right, here we go. MUSLIM. I'm so blessed to be with them. Said MUSLIM. This is for Owais Batli's children. Here we go.
1 million strong all year long.
Prayers to Allah even in Hong Kong. And that's all we got for you. Ran out of time. We're about to go.
Those are all the words I knew anyways.
Hey, thanks for tuning in, guys. You've been watching Think About It with Joshua Salaam and my guest, Owais Batli. I'll see you tomorrow, inshallah. Thanks for tuning in. And thank you to our sponsors, Penny Appeal, pennyappealusa.org. Give a little bit, but you can do a lot with that. And that's what we learned today. With just a little bit of work and a lot of passion, you can do some great things, just like Owais Batli. All right, see you guys tomorrow.
This Deen TV video was made possible in part by Penny Appeal USA, Small Change, Big Difference, and by Recycle Processes Incorporated.